Oh my goodness, do we have some amazing things to talk about? The fires in California that continue to rage, cryptocurrency, and medical debt. Hello there, I am Nancy K. Coy. Thank you so much for joining back in. Hopefully you like the content enough that you're willing to subscribe to the channel. So let's dig in right away. California fires continue to rage, and a lot of pointing of fingers going on, but I just want to thank you, those of you who are setting up stations and helping to take care of people who have been displaced. What we're learning is that we're just better together, right? We're just better when we're united. And it's just so, I guess, heartwarming to see the celebrities and just normal everyday people coming together and helping one another. And it's so amazing that when chaos happens in this country, what we end up doing, we end up always showing up and we end up helping one another, which is really what we're here to do, is to love and serve one another. So I think that's just fantastic. And again, thank you to all of you who have had the heart to help others. And we continue to pray for those of you who have been displaced and have lost so much in what is obviously just a horrific ongoing fire. As a mother of a CAL FIRE firefighter, my heart goes out to all the first responders and the families that are hoping and praying every single day that our loved ones come home and they're safe. And thank goodness that they're out there doing everything they can to help. So I want to talk about cryptocurrency. I have been watching cryptocurrency almost every single day for probably a year. And I am really excited about our incoming president, President Trump, who is so bullish about cryptocurrency and what it will do for us as a nation. And being in finance and watching how payments are made, this is obviously pretty close to home. So I am watching what's going on, like I said, every day, and it is amazing what is happening. And I do believe that if you are not paying attention to crypto, get on YouTube and listen to some videos, learn, because the likelihood is this is going to be one of the major methods of how digital payments are made and money moves in the world. So it is quite bullish right now with the SEC, the former, the guy who ran the SEC, he's obviously stepping down. The new gentleman who's going to run the SEC is very bullish about crypto, as is President Trump, Ian Vivek. They're all excited about being the cryptocurrency capital of the world. So very excited for all of us to witness this change of the tide and watch how we adopt digital payments around the world. So it's going to be really cool to be involved in that. So as we talk about debt and payments, I want to move to medical debt. January 7th, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau ruled and set new policy in place about medical debt, and that it can no longer report on a credit report. Now that is medical debt, dental debt, ambulance, anything that really is healthcare related. And I want to share with you why that sounds really, really great to most Americans. Well, not having medical debt show up on a credit report is probably viewed as a nice thing. But there are some real serious unintended consequences that I think we need to be paying attention to. There are receivable buyers. Most people don't really understand how payments and money moves in the healthcare world. I've worked on both sides of it. I've worked in the hospital level, and I've also worked having founded one patient finance company and then a receivable management company. So I'm very familiar over my 35-year career of how payments and money move in our healthcare environment. I want to first say that there's absolutely no doubt in my mind, And I will be the first to say that there needs to be some level of reform. In fact, I worked on nonpartisan healthcare reform in 2016. This is a mammoth that is so big, it's not going to change. It wouldn't change overnight. But this is why we need to really be paying attention to these new policies. Hospitals, dental offices, dental practices, medical offices build up receivables. And that's when you go to a doctor or go to the hospital and they bill you for your out-of-pocket portion. Well, those receivables build up. And many of those entities sell those receivables to receivable buyers. When you are a buyer of credit, and these really are, at the end of the day, they're portfolios. If you are buying these portfolios, you've done tons of research over the years to find out your loss ratio. How many people are going to pay? What percentage of people aren't going to pay? What portion are you going to collect, et cetera, et cetera. This new policy now puts all of that in complete peril. Why? Because there's not going to be credit reporting for really anything that goes, any medical or dental debt that goes into a default status. So if you're a buyer of receivables, you're going to run for the hills. You are not going to buy paper. And now what does that really mean? Hospitals, dental practices, medical offices, many of them are struggling. I mean, really struggling, especially the rural hospitals. I mean, some of them are on the verge of going broke. This will, without a doubt, put them in complete compromise. They cannot afford another 10, 20, 30% hit, because if people don't have to pay and there's no repercussions for non-payment, they probably aren't going to. Now, there's a lot of good people out there, don't get me wrong, that are going to pay. And they don't need a bill, or they don't need somebody pressuring them to make a payment. But there's a lot of people that really don't care and are going to just let those bills fall into file 13. The collections are going to skyrocket, and you're going to have the receivable buyers saying, I'm out of here. And guys, here's the deal. It's already happening, because about a year and a half ago, when I thought this legislation was going to come into play, I actually was still running the current company I have, which is Choice Payment Services. And we had a performing portfolio of clear aligners, right? For those of you who don't know, clear aligners are obviously clear braces, right? So anyway, this is performing paper. These are loans or payment plans where the patient had made at least 3 payments, if not more. They were 12, 18, and 24-month terms. This is good paper. I reached out to a receivable buyer because the company, the merchant, if you will, or the provider, really, wanted to unload this portfolio. I couldn't sell it to save my life. At that time, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, the 3 reporting agencies, which, by the way, are all for-profit companies, they, in tandem with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, agreed that they would no longer report negative information on a credit report under $500. Well, that alone had the receivable buyers running for the hills. Now, what do we think it's going to be? So when we think in terms of what's really going to happen, the hospitals and many medical and dental practices are going to be in trouble. So if I could encourage you to do anything, if you get a bill, pay it as fast as you can, because they're going to need it. The patients that need the care the most are going to be the ones that suffer the greatest. Why? Because after probably 6 months from now, because the policy actually goes into play in about 60 days. So I think it's March 7th, if I'm not mistaken. What's going to happen is, after doctors, dentists, hospitals, etc., right, surgery centers, anything healthcare, once they start to see the backlash of this, they're going to start requiring payment up front. So that means you're going to go to the hospital and they're going to want you to pay them up front, right? And can you blame them? And maybe there's laws that would prohibit the hospital doing that, but I can assure you that your doctor, your family doctor, or your dentist is going to require it. So folks, we just have to stop, and we have to think about the unintended consequences when we make these policies. And so much of this sounds so good. And the door is now open for a lot of people to not have this negative debt on the report or credit report. So maybe it opens them up to be able to buy a house. I know the American dream is to buy a home. I get it. I've done it several times. But what I hope doesn't happen is that we are extending mortgages to a bunch of people that absolutely are not in a financial position to purchase a home, because we're setting people up for failure in this country, and we learned that in 2008. So I hope this information is helpful. Again, if you like the content, if you'd be so kind as just to subscribe or like the little the little bell there on the channel, that'd be awesome. Thank you so much again for being here today. I wish you a great rest of your week, and I'll get back with you soon. Bye for now.